Commission Christian Radio presents In Business for God, the story of Lydia. Written for radio in 6 episodes by Maureen Long. Episode 2, Supper Party. In the city of Philippi, in present-day Greece, a supper party was about to begin one evening nearly 2,000 years ago. It was being held by Lydia, a businesswoman who traded in purple dye for clothing, and her father. Their guests were men who, up until a few hours before, had been total strangers. Paul, Timothy, Luke and Silas were travelling the then-known world preaching the good news of Jesus Christ. They had met Lydia only that afternoon. But already Lydia had become convinced of the truth of their message. Now she had invited them to stay at her home.
Syndicate and Eurodia aren't able to stay for supper, but they didn't know you would be coming. They each have big families.
And you, Lydia, do you have a family?
You're back at last, Lydia.
My father, Marcus. Father, may I present Paul from Tarsus, Silas, Timothy and Luke? Luke's a doctor, Father.
Pleased to meet you, sir. Welcome, gentlemen. But what is your business here in Philippi? I visit my daughter quite often, and it's not always she brings 4 men back for supper. But let us eat now. You must be hungry, and we shall talk all the better on full stomachs.
Later that evening, after they had eaten, Lydia withdrew to supervise the washing up. Her father, Marcus, was curious to know more about their unexpected guests.
So, gentlemen, what brings you to Philippi? Are you merchants, or are you traders in cloth also?
We are servants of the Most High God and Jesus Christ, His Son. We've been spreading His message for many years past, and we believe that God has now called us into Macedonia. We heard that Jewish converts worship at the river on the Sabbath and have been privileged to join them in their worship. You have quite a daughter, sir.
Yes, I'm proud of her myself. When a man has no sons to carry on the family business, it is a blessing to have been given such an intelligent and caring daughter.
Do you live in Philippi here then, Marcus?
Our family home is in Thyatira, many miles from here. But I travel back and forth. Lydia keeps me on my toes with her business contacts. She sells purple cloth, and only back home can you find the perfect dye. Lydia has many influential customers, and they want cloth that will withstand weather, washing, time. They can afford to pay for the best, and that is what they get.
You're a loyal citizen of Thyatira, my friend. I'm only a humble tent maker by trade. But what makes you think your dye is best?
Well, where else can you find so much of the perfect shellfish that gives us the dye? The purpura shellfish is peculiar to Thyatira. So, we can produce the finest dye in the whole of Asia.
I'll take your word for it, my friend, if you will take our word about the claims of the Lord Jesus, as your daughter and her friends have done.
Oh, I warn you, sir, I am not a Jewish convert like my daughter.
Your daughter is not only a Jewish convert, Marcus. She is now a Christian. You don't have to be a Jewish convert to become a Christian either. Your daughter has believed in the Lord Jesus Christ to save her, and that is assured.
That's rich. I have never heard of a Christian, and neither, as far as I know, had my daughter when she left this house today. Now, woman she might be, but she's the most astute lady I know. She doesn't go in for salesman's patter. So I must hear more of this.
So you shall, if I know Paul.
Here they all are, Joanna, talking about us too, no doubt. Sure, you know how men gossip.
Oh, Lydia, Joanna, come and join us. It's time you busy businesswoman relax. It's been a long day.
Lydia, your father wants to know why you became a Christian on such short acquaintance with us. Why don't you tell him what happened?
Don't you think I've been asking myself that? Father, it was the most strange and yet wonderful experience of my life. There we were, singing praises to God, when these men appeared and preached to us of his Son, the Lord Jesus Christ. As they spoke of him as the Messiah, telling of his death and resurrection, I just knew. Suddenly, all the scriptures I have read and studied since I took on the Jewish faith have made sense.
But you said they made sense before, Lydia.
I know, Father, but this time it more than made sense. It fulfilled the old faith, if you can understand what I mean.
No, Lydia, I can't understand. But I have never seen you look as radiant as this. There's something in your eyes. Something I thought I would only see on the day I gave you to a bridegroom. Or saw you with my first grandchild.
Oh, Father, you never give up. Paul, he's been trying to marry me off for years. Yet he says he has no one else to run the business.
What madman would take you and a ready-made business on? Unless he was a glutton for work or a fortune hunter.
Exactly. Now you can see why you have no grandchildren, Father. As for my radiance, yes, I thought I would only feel like this if I fell in love. Well, maybe I have. Maybe I've fallen in love with this Jesus. I know I want to live with him for the rest of my life. I just feel it here, deep inside myself.
Yes, I have not felt like this since my wedding day. I was a bag of nerves then. But today I have such a feeling of peace mixed with joy that it's an even happier day.
Father, our guests will be speaking in the marketplace tomorrow about Jesus. You must go along and hear them when you have completed your business in the city.
I certainly will. If this new faith has done so much for you too, maybe it can help cheer up the last years of a poor old widower's life.
Oh, get away with you. Poor indeed. Old? Never. But we're neglecting our guests, talking to each other like this. Have any of you been here before?
Yes. Look, here's almost a native.
What do you mean, Timothy?
Well, you've such a fine medical centre here. It would have attracted me even if it had been 1,000 miles from my home. Fortunately, in my youth, I was able to learn much here. It was an added joy to me when Paul asked me to come with him.
You won't get rid of Luke yet, Lydia. He had planned to visit the city anyway.
I have a thorn in the flesh. Sometimes I get a bout of the fever, and to have a doctor on the team has saved my life more than once. I wasn't too well back in Troas. In fact, I think friends wondered if the man of Macedonia who asked for our help was a figment of my delirium. However, Luke refused to let me travel without him. Now I learn it could be the medics here he was thinking about.
Well, a double attraction, maybe.
As long as you've seen me thus far, you can stay as long as you like. Now I'm feeling better.
And what about you, Timothy?
Paul has been my tutor in the work of a pastor. I've stayed on at some of the new churches until they've been established, and then until it was time to move on.
We could certainly use you here, Timothy, if you are able to stay on with Dr. Luke.
There's hope for my grandchildren yet, Paul. One pretty businesswoman, and you've lost half your team at a stroke, my friend.
Oh, take no notice of him, gentlemen. He loves to laugh at his daughter.
Well, it is a joy to come into such a happy household, Lydia. Timothy is too busy with his pastoral work to worry about a wife, and Luke sees nothing but his medical writings. So you'll be safe enough if we do leave them behind. I have a wife back home, but for some ministers, like Paul and Timothy, the celibate state is best. It has to be an exceptional woman that can take the parting. And the danger.
Danger?
Yes, we've been flogged, thrown into prison, shipwrecked, derided, all for the sake of the gospel of Lord Jesus Christ. But we count it as nothing. My wife loves him completely too.
It is not an easy faith then that you have accepted, my daughter.
And was it not you who taught me that nothing worthwhile comes easily, Father? But tell us more, Paul, of your adventures of the faith.
The talk went on into the night, as Paul and his companions told Lydia and her father of their travels and the things which had happened to them before they came to Philippi. But eventually, tiredness overcame them, and the company went to bed. next morning after breakfast, Lydia prepared to go to her work.
I have appointments for today, my friends, but please use my home as your home.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have instructed my servants that you are to have food and hospitality whenever you need it. Please come back in the heat of the day and eat and rest, just when it suits you. Father, you will be going to the marketplace, won't you? Please take care of our guests.
After our talk late into the night, I would not miss today for anything. You could get a hearing, friends, or you may get a rough ride. I trust this God of yours can take care of you too.
There's no doubt of that, Marcus. Just you see.
Timothy, never have I heard anyone speak in our city as well as Paul did today.
He doesn't speak in his own strength, Marcus. He speaks in the power of the living God.
It is the mighty Spirit that stirs in people's hearts and makes them listen and respond.
You certainly had many respond today. I have never felt like this before. I want to be baptized when we get to the river for evening prayer, but I must tell Lydia first.
She will be happy for you, and for all the converts. When she sees him at the river, she will know that her church building will soon be a reality.
How can any building contain such a message? If this spreads as I know it will be at the hearth and home, where it will be shared and passed on.
That has been our experience so far, Marcus. But in the future, who knows?
These men are
We might-
servants of the Most High God. These men are servants of the Most High God who bring you news of salvation.
Who is this girl?
She is a slave girl, said to possess a spirit of Python or Apollo.
Apollo? Why?
Python was a large snake, famous for foretelling the future.
These
Apollo
men
slew
are
the snake, so was
servants
called
of the
Pythias,
Most High
the forecaster
God.
of future events. This girl makes a lot of money for her masters with her fortune-telling.
These men
If your
are
mighty
servants
spirit
of the
has made
Most
her
High
shout this aloud,
God.
there could be trouble, friend.
They bring you news
What are you
of
going to do about her, Paul?
salvation.
Nothing, until the Lord tells me to act.
These men are servants of the Most High God.
That was episode 2 of The Story of Lydia by Maureen Long. The programme was produced at the Commission Studios in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Episode 3 is entitled Power Over Evil.